Hey guys, it's a real windy day here in northern New Jersey. This is my 2004 Honda S2000. See the little keychain I have of the Rio Yellow Pearl, and taking it for a drive today. It's freezing, it's only 40 degrees, so I guess we might have to keep the top up today. But I just wanted to show you the car, take you for a quick drive. This is a 2004, which is the first year of the AP2. Now, the original S2000s had a plastic rear window, so this is glass. That came in 2002. So the 2000s, 2001s usually sell a little cheaper. 02 still an AP1. They came up with the glass rear window all the way to the end, 09. AP2 came in 04, which gave you the lower red line. The VTEC kicks in a little earlier. They bumped up the engine from 2 liters to 2.2 liters, 240 horsepower. This is Rio Yellow Pearl on an AP1. They have Spa Yellow. So this is stock except for a K&N filter. And it's a straight 4. Has all the VIN tags. We went over the VIN tags in the other videos. The paint is all original. I've had this car, bought this car in February of 2021. Put about 2,000 miles on it. Bought it with about 31,000 miles, and now it has 33 and change. So these are stock 17-inch wheels. What I did was I put Pilot Sport 4S tires, which are amazing tires. And because when you buy an S2000, they're 15 years old, 10 years old, whatever they are, they're always going to have old tires on them. People don't drive them all the time. So if you get a low mileage one like this, chances are it's got a lot of tread, but old tires. So the tires were dry rotted. I worked into the deal with the dealer to get the Pilot Sport, so they paid for half, I paid for half. All right, it's very windy, so we're gonna go inside. Those tires are basically $1,000 for a set. I paid $500, the dealer paid $500, basically. In here, very simple. There are no plugs for your radar detector. The plug is actually behind you right here. So what I do is I get an extender that goes out to the front, and then you can hang your radar detector from up top. Same thing, plug in your Waze. There's no place to plug in with USB. You can get the extender or your radar detector with a smart cord and then plug it in right there. Very simple. Everything's facing the driver here. The passenger has nothing, just but dust. I have to dust this car. Only comes with a 6-speed manual. Reverse is down and to the left. Hazards, this is how you do your roof. Will probably be way too windy, and you hear all the landscapers. It's probably not going to work. You actually have a rear defroster here because it is a glass roof. Your air conditioning controls recirculate the air. You can give some heat, so there's no heated seats in a car this vintage, but what you can do is put this setting to the middle, put the heat on, and it'll blow heat behind you on your back and keep you warm. Not as good as a heated seat, but it works pretty decently. Cruise control, which I've never tried, and I've had 3 S2000s. Also, you have redundant radio controls here. You can check the channel, audio control, you can mute, whatever you need. Now, this is the first car that I can remember that had a remote start, and this was back in model year 2000, which I think it actually came out maybe in 99 or the spring of 2000. So what you still have to do, though, unfortunately, is you still have to put the key in and turn it. So you might as well just have turned it and started it and then press the button. So I remember the first time I ever had not with this car, but I've had 3 S2000s, valeting an S2000, and they didn't know how to move it because they couldn't see the start button because you're thinking it's here somewhere, especially when you put in a key and turn it. And these are your cruise controls again, which I've never used. I like to have control myself. So there's no power door locks. You do it manually, lock and unlock on each side. Your key fob, obviously, is the power, can unlock it. Make sure you get 2 keys. I think there's actually a 3rd valet key I have too. I'll have to check. And then your mirror controls here, and this your power windows here. So let's start it up. Your seatbelt on first so it doesn't keep chiming. All right, so let's start it up. Always do your seatbelt first, otherwise you get that chime. So we're gonna turn it and we're gonna start it. This car has a new battery. I put it in last year. We'll press the button, installed it myself. Very simple. Now here is your, I guess this is supposed to be cup holder, but it doesn't hold your cup, as you can see. Wherever you put it, it's gonna go down. You can put your sunglasses, whatever. Some storage compartments back here. There's actually one in the middle here and one up top because you do not have a glove box. All right, that's just me hitting my water. So let's take it for a little spin. Gets good gas mileage, but it's a small tank, so if you're ever going to go on a drive, make sure you fill it up. Engine's all warmed up, so we will accelerate. Zero to 60 in probably about 6 seconds for the AP2. I'd say AP1 is about 6.5. I would say an AP2 is very close to an NA1 NSX. I think an NA1 NSX is 5.7. I would say this car is about 6 flat. The AP1s are a little slower because it just takes longer to get into the VTEC. So as you can see, the red line here is about 8,000. VTEC starts at about 5,800, whereas in the AP1s, you can rev to 9,000, but your VTEC really doesn't kick in until about 6,800. So just more usable around town. I like the looks of the AP2 better. You get the 17-inch wheels. I think the suspension is more refined. They made 66,000 of these. 36,000 are AP1s, roughly 30,000 are AP2s. 04 and 05, they're very popular. 04, 05, 06, very popular years on the AP2s. Once they got to 07, they didn't sell many cars. So 07, 08, and 09 are scarce. 08 and 9 have different wheels than this. And, you know, the prices rise from there. The more scarce they are, the lower mileage, original paint. I have all the videos on the 10 VIN tags, so you could tell if your S2000 is original. And we're going to go up to some cool driving roads here. Now, there is some body roll. This is a 2004. It's, I think the body roll is a lot worse on an ND Miata, which I don't like at all. I like the car, but I hate the body roll on that car. But here it's using body roll to use grip. This is how the cars used to do it. It's mechanical grip. And if you know what you're doing, it's a very good car to drive. Now, in 06, they got traction control, stability control. The 04, like this, does not have that. So be careful. And again, always, I'm signaling left here. Always have good tires on your car. A lot of these tires rot from the inside out. So this top is in perfect condition. Don't worry so much about the tops. You could get them, if they're like $1,500, $2,000, you can get a Robbins top, which is even better. It's an aftermarket top. You can find a lot of independent installers, literally guys that do it in their garage, that have installed hundreds of S2000 tops so they know what they're doing, instead of going to the dealer and probably paying about $3,000 all in. All right, so we're gonna go to a good, we'll accelerate a little here. We'll go to some, a real good, almost 90-degree angle turn up here. So it's very loud in here with the top up. With the top down, you'll get a lot of wind in your hair. It's very windy. Better than the NSX, believe it or not. But with the top up, it's very loud. If you had a hard top, you would really feel, you'd really feel it. The sound, it would be very, very loud. So here's a cool, now these cars can oversteer, especially the early ones. They changed the suspension like 2002, 2003, made it a little more stable. I think the AP2s are way more stable. You can throw it into a turn at a much higher speed. Yeah. So it's great. This is probably the best stock shifter I've ever experienced. My NSX is pretty good too, but I would say this takes the cake. Landscapers, don't spray in my car. But it's a really blast to drive, and I could drive this all the time. Now, when I do my long drives with friends, after about an hour, hour and a half, you'll probably get tired of this car because it is a little cramped in here. I'm 6 feet tall. You probably don't want to be much taller than me, because the one thing Honda forgot is the steering wheel is not adjustable. And one thing you probably wouldn't believe, unless I told you, is the steering is actually electric. So on the original NSX, well, my NSX, let's put it that way, my NSX, my 05, and this have electric steering. But if you didn't know any better and I told you hydraulic, you would believe it. So here we have a 2004 car that has better electric steering, I think, than a modern day, say, BMW. You can really feel the wind. Just a blast to drive. Now, you know, when you drive a real fast car, like when I had my McLaren, 100 feels like 60. And the problem is, especially with a dual clutch transmission, you have to get going pretty fast to have any fun. You have to do a couple shifts and then you're gonna be at license braking speed. So yeah, the electric steering is actually excellent, but you only really can be a certain height to drive this car because the steering wheel is not adjustable. So that's one thing that they probably missed on. The stereo is hidden behind this compartment. It's fine. I mean, with the top down, you're not going to hear much of anything. So it's more like, hey, I'm sitting in traffic and cruising around. Maybe I want to listen to sports or something like that. On the highway, probably having the top down will blow your head off, so typically, but I drive it on the highway all the time with the top down. So, and again, what I said about the McLaren, what I was getting into before we had that little road construction there, the McLaren, when you go 100, it feels like 60, and you really got to go really high speeds to enjoy it, cracking off those dual clutch shifts. This car, if you're on the highway, 60 feels like 100 because it's so windy, and it's just like, oh my God, you know, and you feel like you're driving like a Formula One car because you're shifting through the gears and you're Aaron Senna going through everything. So it's a really, really cool car, and I love driving it. I'll never sell this S2000. I don't care if they go up in value or not. I had 2 other AP2s just because I prefer the AP2s, an 04 with 9,000 miles, and 06 with 11,000 miles, and I sold them for what I thought was good money, but that's nothing compared to what they would go for now. Those are probably, you know, I got like 28,000, and those were probably $50,000 cars in today's market. But this one I'm keeping. I bought with about 31,000 miles, put about 2,000 miles on it last year, and it's hard for me, except unless it's a daily driver and I'm doing real estate showings with it, it's very hard for me to put a lot of miles on the car because I am either driving a lot of miles for work, and on the weekends I'm filming for you guys, so very rarely do I get to drive my own cars. But today is one of those days. Now you will feel the bump. Your significant other probably won't like it because, of course, it's got a sports suspension, so it is bumpy. They're not going to want to have their hair blow away with the top down because it's not one of those cars that you can just put up a wind blocker. Unfortunately, we're stuck behind this slow Jeep Cherokee that doesn't know what the heck they're doing. The clutch will roll back on hills, so the newer cars like my 2008 E90 M3, those cars on, or my 911, they don't roll back. They have that hill hold assist. This car, my NSX, they do roll back, so keep that in mind. You could put, if you want any cold air at all, you got to have the air conditioning button on. It really doesn't give you anything cold without that AC button on, and you can have recircled air, and honestly, that's the way to get the cold air. I just forgot. Even with the air conditioning on, the air's not going to be that cold, so you always want to do the recirculated air. But this car is all about the turn, so I like even driving this car at night because then you're not getting sunburn, and it's so warm enough, and you know, when the sun's setting like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and kind of just drive till it's dark. The lights are okay at night. Again, it's a 2004, so you're not getting the bright lights or the LEDs like you have on modern cars. Now, if we were driving in my Audi S8 on these, you wouldn't even notice any of these bumps. You notice all of them in this car. Even though the steering's electric, you can you know, really feel what's going on with the car. These dominate in the autocross. Sticky tires. Now that's where I would probably choose the AP1 with its higher redline over the AP2s is the racetrack. That car is a little more likely to oversteer. But otherwise, for the street, I just think the AP2s are more predictable. They look better. They won't surprise you mid-turn like an AP1 will. But I wouldn't mind having one of both. And if I had one of both, the AP1 would definitely be the autocross car. And we'll take some cool turns here. I could drive this car all day. This is not a straight line car, so if you live where the roads are straight, you probably won't like this car. If you live in the Northeast, where I am, where all the roads have turns and even the highways have turns, you will absolutely love this car. All right, guys, that's our video. I'll see you soon. Remember, I do 3 videos a week, so remember, like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. And leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Would you take the S2000 or the Miata? That's my radar. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.